All right. Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Cal Chiro Live. I'm Dr. Phil Dieter. Hopefully, I'm coming through loud and clear and everybody can help me or hear me. Looks like my mic is working now. That's good. All right. So, we got just a couple of quick announcements before we dive into the content, though, today. We had the master class yesterday. Hopefully, it's not coming through too glitchy. I'm having a little bit of an internet problem here today, but we had the master class yesterday, and then the women's event is coming up here soon in January. So make sure you're checking in with that. There's the QR code for that. I will be updating on some other events. Hopefully, if I can get my computer to stop glitching as much here today. But I wanted to bring on today's guest for us. Let me bring him up. This is Dr. Morgan Mullican. Hi there, Morgan. How you doing?
Hey, Dr. Phil, doing good? Good to be with you again.
Good. Why don't you introduce yourself?
Well, I'm been a chiropractor for 37 years. I'm a Palmer grad in Davenport, Iowa. So all those Midwest chiropractic schools. I grew up in Omaha, Nebraska. Did my undergrad at Nebraska, and just obviously went down the street a ways across Iowa to Palmer, and finished in 88, and then got my diplomate in nutrition in 91 and my CCN in like 96. So I've been kind of chiropractic and nutrition for a long time. And now just recently I have 3 weight loss centers, one in Tulsa, Oklahoma, one in Starkville, Mississippi, and then one in my hometown now of Gainesville, Georgia. So I've been enjoying that. We'll kind of get into that a little bit because my subject today is the prevalence of diabetes and type 2 diabetes and some of those chronic diseases that affect our outcomes, and how that we can, maybe give some advice to some of these patients or give them a tool that possibly could help them significantly. And I'll give you some of my stats here in just a minute.
All right. Well, tell us about your companies too. I know you have quite a few companies that you're working with.
I mainly work with Invisared, and then I also work with HydroWave. Those are the ones that asked me to go around and teach CEUs. In fact, I'm going to be in Oklahoma City this weekend teaching at their state association, and I had the privilege of speaking at your event there at the Disneyland Hotel just a few months ago. But all over the United States teaching CEUs, and I love doing that. And HydroWave, which is in the shockwave family, it is probably one of the more cutting edge devices right now on the market because it's using a magnet and it's using water, hence the name hydro. And so I can go deeper, and I can create a lot more effective impulse into that connective tissue. And the results I'm getting is insane. And then Invisared's been around for 12 years. I found them almost 3.5 years ago. It is the only Class 3B FDA and IRB approved device for inch loss, fat loss, and weight loss, all 3. And Invisared has been a great tool for so many people that are struggling with weight and just how to get it off without all the complications and negative side effects of the GLP-1s or the semaglutides, which I'm sure a lot of our listeners are watching right now know that you lose up to 40% muscle mass when you go through that median.
So they told me that you have a presentation that you're going to project up on screen today. Why don't you go ahead and bring that up?
Yep, I'll go ahead and do that now.
You're finding the button there to share?
Yes, just a second.
All right. As soon as you can get that shared, then I'll allow it on the screen.
Well, come on.
If not, we can talk through it a little bit. I know you
No,
wanted to touch on.
I'm getting it.
I just don't want to lose our listeners as we're waiting to get up on the screen there. So
right. Well, I'm hitting share the entire screen, and there it goes.
there you go. Now you got it. We can add it to the scene. There you go. Now you're cooking.
All right. Can you see my screen now?
Yes, sir.
All right. So common health challenges that affect our bottom line, and here's a little bit about my background. We already talked about that. But here's these top 5 chronic diseases facing our patients today. This is right out of all of the statistical research. In fact, I just got through teaching this at several state associations about heart disease, cancer, stroke, arthritis, and diabetes. No surprise there, right? But there's a common thread there that we want to kind of discuss. Obviously, we are getting older, lifestyle factors. We know the diet's been greatest. Physical activity is way down. Tobacco use, now people are vaping, just as much as they were smoking before, especially with the younger kids, the younger generation, and then alcohol consumption, environmental factors, pollution, water quality, food quality, excessive exposure to chemicals, stress and mental health. We know that's on the rise, which also affects just overall our body's immune system and how we respond to both stress and sleep. Environmental factors, just the cost of healthcare. We see patients are not being able to have that care that they need and deserve just because, and they maybe not even go and have something checked. And then obesity, that's on the rise. It's been on the rise for many years. And then the pandemic didn't help at all with all the sedentary lifestyle. And the folks are just the food quality and the quantity. But the main thing, too, that's kind of really on the surface that a lot of people don't know is prediabetes. 1 in 3 adults have prediabetes. Most of them lead into a type 2 diabetic situation if uncorrected or not addressed. And the sad thing is, 70% of Americans have that have prediabetes. 70% of them don't even have symptoms and don't have any idea that they have it. So they're walking around with it and have no idea because they're not getting their blood sugar checked or their A1C checked. And here again, the lack of symptoms, they're assuming, and that's a sad thing in our kind of patients that we're seeing today. We see that with heart disease, we see that with cancer, we see that with and here again, high blood pressure. I mean, there's no symptoms, and look at the damage that occurs if uncorrected. And it's no surprise. This is why it's common today, because sedentary lifestyle. Here's that common thread again with those chronic diseases: excessive food, which leads into the obesity epidemic. 40% of Americans are classified as obese, and 70%, or 7 out of 10 Americans, are overweight. And then that leads into stress, some family histories, and an increasing age. We all know kind of what diabetes is. It's just, where, that blood sugar gets too high, it can't get into that cell. We've heard that term insulin resistance as well. So, insulin is a hormone. It's act as a mediator. It's a tool. It's a signaling device. But if the cell is resistant and we can't get that sugar inside that cell to be used as an energy source, then it's circulating, and that's where we get that high blood sugar. Long-term, diabetic complications are just even in that. Look at this here, just that pre-diabetic state. That'd be like saying, hey, I don't have really high blood pressure, but it's, higher than normal or higher than it should be. Same thing. If I have higher than normal blood sugar, then that could easily lead into some of these other complications: eye disease, neuropathies, peripheral neuropathies, diabetic foot issues, bone disease, fatty liver, heart damage, stroke. Very, very common. All these things are heavily linked to that, excessive sugar in the circulation that never got inside the cell. And then what are we going to do to manage it? Well, we certainly can, work on our diet. Exercise is certainly important. Getting an adequate sleep at night, that's so important. And most people, I bet most of the folks that are listening and watching this today realize that their patients aren't really sleeping well at night. They say, 7 out of 10 Americans don't sleep all the way through the night soundly, and that affects so many bodily systems and bodily functions. But here's the biggest thing: is this pre-diabetic state, since it has no symptoms, and at 70% at some point in time, these people develop into a type 2 diabetic. 25% of them will, for certainly in the next 3 to 5 years, develop into type 2 diabetes. That's a solvable or preventable problem. Since this isn't an autoimmune disease, this is all preventable. And so what can we do about it? Well, there's in our chiropractic office, obviously chiropractic care and addressing that sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous system, making sure that we're putting the nervous system in proper balance, making sure that we're removing any kind of nerve interference, and we got good range of motion, good flexibility and functionality of that spine and distal extremity. And then talk to them about their health and bowel habits. I mean, so many people are their transient time is lost. I mean, they think it's normal to go 2 or 3 days between bowel movements. And that's, in fact, I'm doing the talk I'm doing at Oklahoma City this weekend is on dementia and how they're linking the gut health to dementia is significant. So going back to that gut health and bowel habits, that's critical in a pre-diabetic or certainly a type 2 diabetic. And then a grocery list. We give out all of our weight loss candidates a list because God bless, these people don't know how to shop at the grocery store. They don't know what they need to actually purchase to be in the best shape for what their body needs. So we give them a list that they can actually take to their own grocery store, showing the better proteins, the better carbs, the better fruits, the better vegetables, the
We lost you there.
like the fact that I ran into that.
Oh, we lost you there
I'm
for
sorry?
a second, but we lost you there for just a second.
Okay, I'm back now.
Yeah. How can
Okay,
people
good.
get that grocery list if they want to get a copy of your grocery list?
Yeah, Dr. Phil, I'd be happy to if they want to email me or call me. My personal cell, if they want to write that down, 678-540-0724. Or my email address is Morgan or mpmullican@charter.net. Or if you give me a list of all the folks that were attending today, their email address, I'd be happy to email this grocery list to them because they could use that to so many of the patients that walk in and they don't have the right energy. This grocery list is going to have them increase their energy source. It's going to help them sleep better because their body's not going to be struggling to break down some of those processed foods or those simple carbs, especially late in the evening. When melatonin wants to kick on, so many people are eating the inappropriate foods in the evening, and melatonin says, well, we can't release yet because our body's still trying to break down and deal with the food content.
Tiffany just put your info on the screen there. So
what's that?
Tiffany just put your info on the screen so people can have it.
Yeah, let me go ahead and finish the PowerPoint because I don't see where I can type that in yet.
She already did it.
Oh, she already did it. Perfect. Thank you. Thank you so much, Tiffany. So let me talk about, no surprise here, obesity is responsible, sadly now more deaths than smoking. 2017, obesity surpassed smoking as the #1 contributing factor to mortality. And then in that category would be that diabetic, and of course, stroke, cardiovascular disease, cancer, anxiety, sleep apnea, GERD, and then hypertension. And we know from from our training, how that affects back, distal extremities, knees, hips, ankles. So no surprise there. What I like about it being a chiropractor is that 7 out of 10 patients, know that they're overweight, know that they really need to do something. So that's why when we go ahead and market and we kind of let them know that we have a tool for them, it's easy to obtain that new patient acquisition, way more easier, believe it or not, than chiropractic, because God bless, 130 years later, people still don't understand the importance and the validity of chiropractic, but everyone understands they need to lose weight. And if I have an easy solution, or if a doctor's office has an easy solution that doesn't have symptoms or side effects, it's very, very rewarding. So with 73, or basically 7 out of 10 people overweight and 40% clinically obese, we've got a tool that can address that. So like I said earlier, there's the actual laser itself. We had it out at your conference, so maybe some of you recognize that picture. But it is the only device that's FDA and IB, the International Radiological Board, clinically proven for weight loss, fat loss, and inch loss, all three. Where most red lights, and there's nothing wrong with red lights, they're very, very effective for the skin and healing of the skin, but they won't go down to that subcutaneous fat like this 3B laser. This is truly a 3B laser with two wavelengths, 680 and 980. Here, before I get into that, they did a clinical trial, a double-blinded study 9 years ago. It was like in 2016, where they took a whole bunch of people, a sample size with 800 folks, and they took them through 9 treatments, and they told them not to change their diet at all. They told them not to change anything. No eating habits changes, anything. And they did these 9 treatments on those folks, and this are the actual stats from those 9 visits with that double-blinded study. And that's where we actually now see where this has been approved to say that, hey, this is why it's inch loss, fat loss, and weight loss, because they actually saw all 3 of those. And you lose about a half a pound of fat in a 15-minute treatment time. I'll get into the actual how you use it in just a second. But here's how this works. There's two wavelengths. There's a 680 and 980 nanometers. The 680 is the red and the 980 is the infrared. That's really the workhorse, the one that's going down to that subcutaneous fat and actually releasing it with an energy source using that photo bleaching device. And it allows that fat to either be broken down and utilized as cellular energy, or it gets into the lymphatic system and our body eliminates through bowel, bladder, and respiration in the next 12 to 24 hours. So that's why it's been extremely effective. And we have had such great results because it's a laser. There's no discrimination. You can use it on anyone 18 years or older. There's no age limit. There's no weight difference. I mean, we've had folks that are close to 400 pounds lose significant amounts of weight. Or if someone wants to just lose 15 pounds, we can easily do that in 30 days. The device is very simple. Because it's 15 minutes, we can do 3 patients an hour. And another thing that's neat with so many great devices out there, this one's unattended. It's literally you set these paddles on the patient, and then that's what they look like there. There's 12 paddles that come with the device. We can place them exactly where they're the most emphasis of the focus we want to get. Most people, it's abdomen and their back. The inner thighs and the outer thighs are really popular as well. But we're seeing 10 to 15 pounds lost in a 4-week cycle, in a 4-week time period. And in that 4 weeks, we're doing 12 sessions. We sell it in 12 visit packages. And in that 12 visits, you're going to see 6 to 10 pounds of actual fat. And then that 10 to 15 pounds total of scalable weight. We typically do 3 treatments per week, sometimes 2 if the patient has a real crazy schedule. But we sell it in those 12 visit packages. I sell mine for $1,800 for the 12, but here again.
No, we lost him there for just a second. Let's,
all right, am I back now?
For a second. I got a question for you while we had a brief interruption.
Yes.
What's unique about your device versus some of the other ones out on their market?
I think the biggest uniqueness is this is an actual laser, and it's not an infrared light. Even though it's a red light, even though it looks, I mean, we could see with our naked eye, it's red. The 680 nanometers is red, but it's actually a 3B laser versus an infrared light.
And who do you think you do your best work with, or like who's your ideal client, I guess?
The ideal client is, it really wouldn't matter, men or women. That doesn't matter. The ideal client is someone who has tried everything, quite frankly.
I meant from a person that would, like the people that potentially could purchase your device. Who are those people? What do those people look like?
I see what you're saying. Yeah, if you got a room you're not using, and you've always wanted to have a tool for your patients that have always asked about weight or weight management or weight loss, and you never really, or you did some nutrition, but you struggle with that because nutrition takes a lot of hand-holding and a lot of accountability, where this is totally, you set it and forget it. And I mean, it's impossible not to achieve results, because this being a laser, it's not going to ask you. I mean, now if they eat tremendously off the grocery list while we go through this program, they won't lose as much. They may only lose. In fact, we, in our 3 locations now in Oklahoma, Mississippi, and Georgia, and all of our locations, the least amount we've ever seen, and we've sold hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of those 12 visit packages at this point, 3 years later. The least amount we've ever seen is 9 pounds lost in those 12 visits. And the most we've seen is 23 pounds. So that's why our average is that 15 to 18 pounds. So really the best candidate for us is someone who is ready to, follow a very simple whole food diet that we're going to let them buy at their own grocery store, hydrate really well with water, because that's really important as well, and then just stick to the schedule, and we'll get results every time.
I see a question here in the chat. It says, is it contraindicated for cancer?
Active cancer, yes. If so, and we don't know if it would really interfere with cancer or not. That's a great question. So what the FDA came back and said when they did their trial, they said if it's been 6 months or longer since you've actively been treating a cancer, whether it's skin cancer or breast cancer or any kind of cancer, if it's been 6 months or longer since you've now been finished that treatment, then it's safe to do this laser. But inside that 6 months, it's best just to wait.
And I also have a question here. It says, what is the startup cost and financing available?
We're gonna get to that, I think, in just 2 more slides. But first,
Okay.
just notice the treatment areas. We can do the neckline, the jowl line. We can do triceps, biceps, anything on the arms, the waist, upper, lower, the love handles, the upper back, the lower back, the hips, the chest. We can actually get rid of the man boobs on the guys. It works phenomenal. And then here's kind of the revenue with this device. If you average, and we average about 15 packages per month. So if you sell 15 12 visit packages at $1,800, that's how I land in that mid to upper 20 range. And then that $1,250 is the device cost. MCMIC, there's a lot of financing companies that will easily finance this, but most of us have heard of MCMIC, the malpractice company. That's around their payment for a 60-month simple interest. It's $1,250. And if you don't have an employee, since I didn't have an employee, I had to hire 3 employees in each location. There's your $3,000 roughly employee cost, which is about $20 an hour. Your marketing ad spends is going to be $1,900. We spend anywhere from $1,500 to $2,000, so I just made it $1,900. And then so that means your net revenue in that month is about $20,000. So it's been really, really profitable for me, especially since I don't have to run it. Being a Class 2 medical device, that'd be another thing good for your docs to know. This can be run in the absence of the doctor in the office. So like in 2 of my locations on Friday, the chiropractors don't even see patients in that office that day. And my staff is there, seeing, since we're not diagnosing and treating anything, that's why it can be run by a layperson or a CA, who here again, Invisalign certifies them in that laser use through certification program that the FDA deemed necessary. And it's easy to do. It just takes a couple hours. But your CA or an employee can run this, and the doctor doesn't have to be on the premise. So here's what you get. And the cost of the device, I think that was the question. The cost of the device is $59.95. When we were out at Cal Chiro, I think they took a $5,000 off. And so I'm sure the company, I don't work for the company, I just have these 3 devices, and they compensate me to teach around the country CEUs. But I'm sure the company would okay that $5,000 reduction to any of your webinar attendees today or in the future that they watch this later. And then the device price would be $54.95. But here's what you get. You get a comprehensive profit center. You truly get a business center. You get a coach or a business strategist for the first 90 days that literally handholds you and your entire team through that whole process. They train you with a live video call. They don't do where they just send you to the website. They're actually going to handhold your whole team through that process. Most time you can get it done in about 60 days, but they said, you know, the first 90, just in case it takes a little bit to get through all those calls. They take care of the first 2 months of marketing. So that's another thing that's really, really important for the docs watching this is I didn't want to have to feed it as a chiropractor. I didn't want to have to come up with my own marketing strategies and my own marketing system. Invisared, since this is all they do, they handle all the marketing for us. Now, we don't have to use them, but I highly recommend using them. And the fact that they're going to show you that this works so well, they do the first 2 months, it's included in the purchase of your device, where they take care of all the marketing design, placement of the ads on Facebook, social media, Facebook and Instagram, and then they take care of all the ad spends, that $1,500 to $2,000 ad spends for the first 2 months once you get up and running. After that, then all we have to do as the owner of this device is just take over that ad spend, and that was the thing that I listed here about $1,900. So anywhere the average ad spends $1,500 to $2,000. After that, 60 days is surpassed, and that's month to month. You don't have. There's no contract. There's no lock-in. You can use it for 3 or 4 months, and then you can take a break if you want. But anyway, they'll train and certify your entire staff. And let's say you have a staff turnover. A year from now, one of your staff steps away or walks away from and has to move out of your area, and you hire a new person. Invisared will train the new person just like they did that first person. And it's ongoing for as long as you own this device. So it's unlimited lifetime training and support. There's an app that also is supplied to the patients to help guide and give them some nutritional advice and suggested recipes and supplements to help support that. So, and here, there you go. So there's my email address, and then, or that's my actual Invisared, the one they gave me, and that one work as well. And then my cell phone are already listed to you.
Awesome. And I love the cat in the hat, man. That's a great.
Yeah. Well, you know, I put that on some of my slides when I teach. You know, it's you know how I segue this, Dr. Phil, is I tell them right before the slide comes up, but I should have done that with you guys. Hey, there's this famous doctor that we've read a lot of his research and a lot of his published works, and we've all read it and studied his works, and we all really just have spent a lot of time in a lot of his literature. And of course, then everyone's thinking, who's that? Well, it's Dr. Seuss.
Nice. I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
Well, thanks so much for coming on today. It was a pleasure learning more about your product. We're going to try to give away a little money today. So let's bring up the wheel. We're getting close to the wheel coming up. There we go. The wheel is up. Almost.
Oh, that's cool. I didn't know there was.
We have 4 names
giveaway.
that we're
That's
going to roll
neat.
today. Let's go ahead and do name number 1. Karen Prosholt. Karen Prosholt, you are name number 1. I was thinking to myself, what is the way that you guys as a company or Invisared as a company, how do they best create awareness for their product?
The way they handle all the marketing. Remember, they do all the social media marketing for any office. There's no admin cost for them to do that. All we have to do as the owner of that device is just pay for the ad spends.
No, I'll come back to my question because I know we just ran our 30 seconds here. But I don't see Karen Prosholt on there. I don't know that I've seen Karen on the chat before, so not likely that Karen's here today. If anybody knows Karen, reach out to her.
They have to be present to win?
You have to be present to win. That's the deal, man. We try to bribe people to come on and win money so that they can learn something. Patterson, I believe I know Liz Patterson. I was talking about Invisared as a company. Like, what have they found to be the best ways? I know you guys came to our conference and had a booth, and obviously you're doing a webinar here. Is there ways that they feel
I'm sure. Yeah, I'm sure your docs have seen they're in all the major publications: Chiroeconomics, Dynamic Chiropractic, Chiropractic Products, and of course, then they they go around the country and they teach CEUs, sponsored,
Okay.
speakered CEUs around the country.
Excellent. Excellent. Okay. Well, that helps me a lot. I don't see Liz with us here today. We'll just give it another few seconds. But that's really helpful because I want to make sure we make some distinctions today for Invisared and their product and their ideal client and that kind of thing. So let's do name number 3. Raleigh Kornman. Raleigh Kornman, you are name number 3. Let's see if you're here. So what we learned today is if you have some extra
Phil, I
spindly...
think
Was I breaking up?
I think Dr. Phil, you're breaking up a little bit.
Okay, now how about now? Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay, that's a little better. I'll wait for just a second till we get through this.
Yeah.
Next
So if docs have a room they're not using, all they need is an 8x10 room. That could be one of the most profitable rooms. This will be one of the most profitable because I've had them all. I've had spinal decompression, I've had shockwave, I've had nutrition, I've had massage, I've had active care. This will be the most profitable room, $15,000 to $20,000 a month of cash revenue. Thank God there's no insurance for this. It's all cash, and people have no problem paying cash for this. This will be one of the most profitable rooms in the chiropractic clinic.
All right. Well, let's do name number 4. I saw Dr. Sean Karimi. Marcus Hogaines, you are name number 4. I saw Dr. Karimi, who I know very well, from Sunnyvale Imaging. If anybody knows Sunnyvale Imaging, they help us all out with their PI stuff and MRIs. But it's been a pleasure having you on today. I really learned a lot more about Invisared. I appreciate that. I'm going to look for some more ways to get you guys in front of people, either via webinar or on the stage at one of our events or something like that. Because like you said, now that I know kind of who is best suited for your product, I think that helps, to help you guys find people that are the right fit for you guys. So excellent.
Absolutely.
Thanks so much for being on today. Doesn't look like we have a winner. So next week we'll be up to $500.
Wow.
Well, hopefully you'll tune in and watch our show again next time. But thanks everybody for being here. And